Hi, welcome to Biz Talk TV. I'm your host and business guide, Michael Rager. I want to open the show today and I want to talk about something that happened in Florida this past week. As you guys know, I'm a big fisherman, and there was something that happened with a charter fishing trip where a captain kind of went off. There was something that happened, and supposedly the father, it's a father, his two kids were out on the boat, and the father slipped and hit the controls on the boat, pushed the boat forward. The captain fell over and fell onto the platform to where the motors are. I get it, something bad happened. But what we got to see here is perception. And when we're on social media, we're going to be perceived in certain ways no matter what happens. What happened is this gentleman, this captain, lost his job because of it. And it was just because of the way he acted. If you watch that clip, there's a lot of F-bombs, there's a lot going on, and he was really mad. But what I'm going to tell you is, just as a business owner myself and somebody who fishes offshore a lot, the one thing that I know that happened on this trip is he didn't have a first mate. And when you're on a charter like this, the captain's job is to maintain the helm, steering, console, power, all that. Where this gentleman fell and hit the power, the mate's job is to take care of the customers. So you as the business owner, as the captain, your job is to see what's going on to make sure everything's functioning. Your team is going through and making sure that your customer relations is going good. This guy didn't have the right team available. He didn't have everybody that he was supposed to. Something bad happened, an accident happened, and thank God nobody got hurt. But what's going to happen is this video's gone everywhere. He's got pros and cons for him. You as a business owner, you need to make sure this never happens to you. Go out there and always make sure you've got the right people in place so you can be successful and you can give your customer the best experience ever. That's what our job is as business owners, and make sure you do that. We're going to have a great show today. We got Clara Capano. She's going to come in. She's going to talk a little bit about productivity and having a great morning routine. Afa Roach is going to give us some great social media tips. And we had a debate last night, so we got Aliana. She's going to be here, and we're going to talk some purple politics. So I'm Michael Rager, your business guide. We'll be back with more right after this.
The best bilingual news, business talk, and technology content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You are watching NowMedia Television, the first bilingual media network in the United States.
En esta era digital, las tarjetas de presentación de negocio son cosa del pasado. De hecho, la mayoría de las personas que las reciben las pierden en cuestión de minutos. La videotarjeta de negocios de NowMedia es un video de su negocio especialmente creado por nuestros expertos con toda su información de contacto, los productos y servicios de su negocio, y puede ser enviado de manera rápida utilizando su teléfono móvil. Cientos de negocios ya están viendo la diferencia. Llámenos hoy al 832-384-9588.
Palitos y Bolitas es la catedral de la explicación. Este programa es la única parada que necesitas para entender los porqués y cómo de todo lo que pasa en México y el mundo. Lunes a viernes, 7 p.m. por Heraldo Televisión.
Según el FBI, un robo ocurre cada 13 segundos. Los hogares y negocios sin un sistema de seguridad confiable tienen 300% más de probabilidades de ser robados. Alert 360 proporciona soluciones de seguridad sólidas y personalizadas a clientes residenciales y comerciales, ya sea seguridad en el hogar, detección de incendios y monóxido de carbono, protección contra inundaciones, atención conectada para personas mayores, soluciones de vigilancia administradas por video, monitoreo de alarma las 24 horas al día, 7 días a la semana y seguridad de personas. Alert 360 es su solución ideal. Además, Alert 360 tiene integraciones inteligentes para el hogar y el negocio, para una total tranquilidad, protegiendo lo más importante y reduciendo los costos de energía con nuestras funciones de programación automática de primera línea. Alert 360 ofrece descuentos en servicios de seguridad a personal militar, veteranos, primeros respondientes, educadores y personal hospitalario. No seas víctima, da un paso fuerte hoy. Llame a Rosana Torres al 832-863-8574 para su consulta gratuita.
Hey, welcome back to Biz Talk TV. I'm your business host and guide, Michael Rager. Hey, as you can see by the sign behind me, Purple Politics. Hey, Alina, how are you today?
Hey, Mike, I am excited to be speaking to you.
All right, so we're going to have a little fun today. All right, so we're going to go purplish in our politics. We probably got more Republicans to talk about today than Democrats, but we're going to talk about presidential candidates that aren't named Biden or Trump, because none of us want those two anyways. Let's go to who else is out there. I know you've got some favorites. I got some people that I like. Let's start with, who do you think is your favorite person out there right now that's not named Biden or Trump?
Honestly, RFK. I do not agree with everything, which is fine. That is the beauty of our country. We don't have to agree with everything that the politicos say, but I love the way he is messaging. I truly believe that he wants to go back to when there was more common sense within the political system, but also in governance for the people. I truly get the feeling that he wants to do better for the people because he truly loves this country. And I have been saying for, God, probably 20 some years now, that our political parties have been going so far over to an extreme that they have forgotten who they represent. So I love RFK. And I know some people say it's difficult to listen to him because of his voice, but I feel like his voice is getting stronger with the more times I see him being interviewed. So I really like him. He seems to be one that truly wants to unify our country, wants to unify the people, wants to be, who is pro-business, which is always good for you, your listeners, and myself, pro-business, pro-America, and just have a common sense application to how he wants to govern.
Well, I think it's the one thing that we've missed for a while now. Nobody wants to cross party lines. The only thing we can get to things done for America is to cross party lines. We need to go talk to each other, and we don't want to do that. All right, I'll kind of go with you there. But do we really want another Kennedy? Who knows? We'll keep going from there. All right, so we go next. Let's go to Vivek. What do you think about him?
He's fun.
Okay.
First of all, I love the fact that I believe he's a millennial. So this is interesting to see, because you always think millennials, I think of my nieces, my nephews, and I forget that, they're in their 30s or soon to be 30s and stuff. But I really do like Vivek in that he's very fresh. He's very straightforward. He loves this country. He has a respect for this country. He's a first generation citizen. So I can appreciate that. I also feel that because he is a self-made man, in the sense that his business was self-made, he is he's very wealthy by his own efforts, that he truly has his thumb on the pulse of how to promote businesses, have economic growth within our country. And for those of us that are middle class, we definitely want someone that is pro-business and middle class, because that is what has been diminishing over the past few decades, is our middle class. So I really feel that he is very good for that. There are times, though, I think he's a little too pro-Trump and very much the defender of Trump. So, there are those, and I want to hear what you think. There are those that say he's basically campaigning for a cabinet seat if Trump were to go, win.
I don't disagree with that. The most exposure I had to him when he was on Mike Rowe's podcast, and some of the things, on the ESG side of things, I totally disagree with him on. Because people that don't know me, I grew up on the environmental side of oil and gas. And so I really understand what was going on in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s in that industry. So there's certain things that there's times that business needs to be regulated. I'm sorry. That's what I grew up in Detroit when the Cuyahoga River burned in Cleveland, and we drive into Chicago and you couldn't even see Chicago until you're in downtown Chicago, because the air quality was so bad. And there's some good things that happen with regulations, so we got to be there. And he kind of turned me off on some of that, but I really did like his pro-business stance. I like what he did, how he built his business, and what he did is, being a guy from Cincinnati, the heart of America, and growing a multi-billion-dollar pharmaceutical. Is it pharmaceutical or biotech company? I can't remember. It was somewhere in that. It was somewhere in there. But it's pretty cool. So I really like that. So we saw recently, as we talked off camera, and I won't use the words we used off camera, Pence finally grew a pair. He stood up to Trump a little bit, but this plant in front of me's got more personality than Pence, and that's not really gonna win the U.S. I mean, I thought he did some good things when he was governor of Indiana. I grew up in Detroit. Detroit very pro-union. He was very pro-work. Right to work state, stuff to that. So, me and my family, we squabble on a little bit of that. Where else can we go? Nikki Haley, I like Nikki from that side. But I don't even know who else is going to come in from the Democrat side. I don't even know how we sweep out the White House right now.
So Mike Pence is being criticized, actually, is being demonized by some because he spoke the truth. Not one person is above the Constitution. That's the truth. Conservatives say that they are there for the Constitution. Well, if you are a constitutionalist, then what Mike Pence said was truthful. Not one man is above the Constitution. However, I think that. Did you happen to see the Tucker Carlson town hall that he had?
I did not.
Mike Pence totally imploded. He doesn't have a good personality. He's not engaging, and I think that's going to be a big deficit always for him. I mean, let's face it. Even when he was VP, I think he was more of a balance. He was selected to balance out a huge personality, which is Trump. Because Trump does have that, celebrity apprentice type of air about him. But Mike tends to, or I should say, former Vice President Pence tends to speak very frankly. And though he may be correct in what his thinking is his delivery is just totally out there, and he's just, he's dead in the water. Unless a miracle were to happen.
Yeah.
Nikki Haley, I don't really have an opinion on her because I think she's more doing this to try to hopefully get the VP slot. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that because I think either of the VPs, whichever guys go, they're not coming back. The ticket's going to be, if it goes the way that nobody wants it to go, is going to be Trump, Biden, and somebody else underneath them. And how do we do that? Because Pence is coming back, and I'm not really sure that Biden can bring Kamala back.
Kamala has a worse approval rating than Biden.
Yeah.
She is not popular. Honestly, it is interesting, though. If we were to take the way the polls are going, that it is going to be a rematch, my little boxing stance, a rematch of Biden and Trump, God help us all. And there are some, like my parents, who would be excited for that. I will say that. The reality is this is for one term. Either way, this is not an 8-year potential versus an incumbent for a year. This is solely whoever is the vice president will have 1 year to solidify whatever reputation they want to solidify. And then they're going to be setting out their election for presidential bid. Now, of course, on the Democratic side, I think if you look at Gavin Newsom, he is going around doing the circuit, speaking. I will say this about Gavin Newsom. I think he is someone that the Democratic Party is looking at as a future. He is eloquent. He is well-spoken. He is handsome. And he does have an appeal. I thought he did incredibly well when he was on Sean Hannity's show. That being said, I don't agree with his political stance. I think that he is very far to the left, an extremist. So I don't want someone like that. You know, it's just going to be more of, or even more of an extremist way. And I don't believe that he truly has like middle class in the best interest, which is kind of ironic considering the Democratic Party used to be the party of the middle class.
Yeah, it did. All right, well, we're running out of time. We've
What do
kind
you
of gone
think?
through this. We've hit a couple. We got really fast. All right, so I'm going to give you your one vote. Who are you voting for?
You know, I can't say that.
Can't say today?
I do like DeSantis, but I'm a Florida girl. I appreciated him opening us back up after the 1 month federal shutdown. Just as a businesswoman, it helps me. There are things that DeSantis is doing that I don't agree with. I don't like the virtue signaling and such. However, if in the primary, my vote is for the Republican primary, my vote is with DeSantis.
All right.
But on the Democratic side, honestly, I'm hoping that RFK will go independent and see what happens.
Yeah, I'd like it, but I just don't. I think it's just lost votes, unfortunately.
That's why we need a third party.
Yeah, I
so,
just don't think
and
you get
then
enough,
get
enough votes.
You know who
for
I
that
would
third
love
party.
right now, who's not running? Manchin.
All right, so how do people go hear more about you?
You can reach me at Alina at purplepoliticsusa.com. I would love to hear from people, get some feedback, and also topics, or Alina at lifeloveplanning.com.
All right, Alina, it's great as always. Hey, yeah, if you're out there and you want to hear some, you want us to go through some topics, give us some. We'll gladly, see if it's worth it. So, hey, I'm Michael Rager with here on Biz Talk TV, NowMedia Television Network. We'll see you with more right after this.
Are you a business owner feeling overwhelmed or burnt out with no energy left for what's most important to you? In order to effectively run your business and maximize your profits, you have got to be the best possible you that you can be. Now is the time to reclaim your energy, master your schedule, and maximize your profits so you can effectively run your business rather than it running you. It's time to become the CEO of your business and life. I'm Jen Godet, a business strategist and life coach. I work with overwhelmed business owners who feel stuck in a rut and depleted. I teach you how to stop doing the things that aren't making you money and start prioritizing the things that bring you energy, joy, and lasting impact. I'm a human performance specialist and an international best-selling author. I've helped countless people all over the world to learn the art of saying no, overcome their fear, and maximize their performance. Let's get you to live your best possible reality. Start today and become the CEO of your business and your life.
Hey, welcome back to Biz Talk TV. I'm your business host and guide, Michael Rager, and it's time right now for Clara Capano. Clara, how are you today?
I am fantastic. How are you, Michael?
I'm good. I'm scared.
I'm
scared.
That effect on people.
Yeah, because you said you're going to help me get a morning routine, so I can be more effective. You said that's your goal today, so let's go in and talk about morning routines and why they're so important.
Yeah. Well, when we come to talking about being more productive and more intentional, one of my secret weapons has been how I start the mornings. Now, this did not come overnight for me. My mornings used to be completely chaotic. Being a single mom, getting my kid up and off to school, everything was a mess. So what I started to do is really lay a more solid foundation to my day. And that helped me to not only calm my energy, but really helped me put my mindset in the right place. And I found that my focus was so much stronger throughout the day. So by having that really solid foundation of how you start your morning, it's a key indicator to how you're going to go throughout the rest of your day and how you're going to maintain both your energy as well as your focus.
You know, it's funny when you told me we were going to talk about this today. I was thinking about one of my favorite memes. There's a place I go to, and it says, "People my age right now are climbing to the top of Mount Everest, but I'm just happy to get both my legs through my underwear holes in the morning." So, how is this me working on a routine? How is this going to help me become more effective? And what are some of the steps I need to take to start putting one together?
So the idea is, again, to get yourself prepared, and to have a ritual. And if you think about other high level performers, athletes, again, they have a routine that they do generally before they go and perform. Actors and actresses have this, and we as business owners also should. So what I do is, now my morning routine tends to be longer than other people. And the idea is, remember, it's success on your terms. So you've got to find the best process that works for you. For me, the first thing that I do is I start my days off with gratitude. Scientifically, it has been proven that when we start the days off with a more positive mindset, it actually rewires us for increased productivity. We find that when we are coming from a place of happiness, a place of positivity, we actually perform about 37% more effectively throughout the day. It helps us with critical thinking. It helps us with being able to make higher level decisions, how we connect with others, and again, how we maintain our energy throughout the day.
So are you starting the day with like a video, or are you listening to a song, or is there's something that you're starting your day off that puts you in that place of gratitude, that place of happiness?
Nope, I keep it real simple. All I do is, the first thing I do before I even get out of bed is I go through what are 3 things that I am grateful for today. Now, many times we can go for that low-hanging fruit of our family, our health, and trust me, those are important. But don't forget the small things, having a great night's sleep, maybe the sun shining outside, waking up to someone that you love laying next to you. So the idea is, again, just going through 3 new gratitudes. You don't have to write them down. You don't have to share them out loud. Now, you can if that's what you like to do, but I like to keep it simple and just go ahead and recite to myself what are 3 things that I'm grateful for.
So should we be planning out that just, hey, I'm awake, my eyes are open, and this is where I'm going? Do I need to plan my first hour or two? How far do I take this?
So what I generally do is I do my gratitudes, and then I go into some mindset work. Mindset work could be a visualization practice. It could be listening to an audiobook, maybe something motivational on YouTube. It could be reading. So I do something to, again, strengthen my mindset. Then what I want to do before I even open up my emails and everything is I want to look over my schedule for the day. Because by looking at my schedule for the day, I can start to assess, where does my focus need to go? Do I have more things scheduled in the morning and a more free afternoon? Vice versa. If I am meeting with clients, who am I meeting with? What is it that I want to focus on talking with them about? So it really allows me to get my mindset ready and, again, know my level of intentionality for the day so that I can show up with purpose, preparation and excitement and energy to be able to serve at the highest level. So this morning routine is all about the preparation before you get into your day.
So, I've watched one of my friends recently on social media. He's like, hey, I'm trying to join the 5 a.m. club. I'm going to get up earlier. I'm going to do this. Is this something that we should, look at putting ourselves into, especially if it's something we're not used to? I know
Right.
people in my life that they don't function till, 10 o'clock and 4 cups of coffee. And
Yes.
how do we overcome that?
So really, again, it's a personal preference. But what I encourage you to do is look at the patterns of other successful people. That's what I did. What I found is when I was studying successful people, about 99% of them were getting up at around 5 a.m. Now, success leaves clues. So I started, optimizing this and starting to model the behavior. Now, when I started doing this, because I do get up at 5 a.m. now, when I started, I was getting up at 6:45. It's all about progress, not perfection. So for the first couple of weeks, I went from 6:45 to 6:30. Then I went from 6:30 to 6:15, and I gently tiered it down until I got to the point where I wanted to go. What I found, because I love my sleep, that is up there at the top of things that are on my favorites to do, is I love sleep. But what I found is my level of focus and energy is so much better on the days that I do my morning routine. I am not perfect. There are days where I don't have it happen, and I can see a difference in my intentionality when I show up and my level of focus. So I know that it works. But you know what? Some people operate better at night. I am just not one of those people. My brain is done by about 6 o'clock at night. So you have to always go back to what's going to work for you. But success does leave clues. And for me, it was a matter of modeling the behaviors of other successful people.
Well, we were talking, before we went on camera a little bit, like James Clear and Atomic Habits and stuff like this. And, I followed Brendan Burchard and started doing some of his habit things. But what if you're a person like me? I'll do it, and then maybe I don't see results right away for what I'm trying to make happen, and then I fall off, and I keep falling off the wagon. How do we keep jumping back on that perpetual wagon?
Yes. So that is completely normal, and it's a great question. What I do for myself is I bring everything back to my vision. Who is it I want to become? What are the goals I want to achieve? Because the idea is it's not the discipline of getting up early in the morning. It's how badly do I want this goal? How important is it for me to accomplish this vision? And when I use the vision to propel me, I am not getting up in the morning for work. I'm getting up in the morning so I can achieve my goal of impacting 1 million lives or more this year. So I think when you connect it with something bigger than yourself, it takes it out of just the discipline. And as James Clear talks about in his own book, Atomic Habits, it becomes part of your identity. I am an early riser. And those are some of the things that really help me to stay more consistent.
So, that was something, and I was having the same discussion with a gentleman this week about the same thing. Saying the I am statements. And I was a bigger fan of Jim Rohn because my ego and my subconscious, when I say I am this, it just says, you liar, and comes back. So how do we, change that self-talk that's going in our head?
Yeah. So one of the best ways to do that is actually to do written affirmations. Written affirmations basically are those statements that currently are not true, but we want to change the programs on a subconscious level. Okay. So by saying, I am an early riser, right now, that might be a lie. But over time, what you're doing is you're rewiring the filter in your brain, which is scientifically called the reticular activating system. And when we start to change the programs, because our subconscious believes what it is told repeatedly. But you can also frame it in a different way. It doesn't have to be I am. It could say, I enjoy being an early riser. I enjoy going into my days with purpose and energy to serve my clients. So you can also rework it in a way that connects more with you. But the idea is it's not about who you are today. It's more connecting you with the vision of who it is you want to become.
All right. Well, that's awesome, Clara. So we got a little over a minute left. How do people get a hold of you? How do they find you? And don't you have some speaking engagements or some stuff going on that I see on
I have lots of stuff going on. I have TV shows. I have some on-demand programs, in-person workshops, and the best place for everyone to find everything they need to get their own personal clarity is to go to my website, which is claracapano.com. I'm getting ready to launch some new master classes, so there is a lot going on in Claraland.
Well, that's amazing. That's amazing. Okay, so I just want to make sure you moved a few weeks ago. You settled in yet?
I am getting settled in. I'd say I'm 98% there.
Okay, so is your body clock adjust to the time change, and are your habits staying on the right clock?
I always go by the clock of the city that I am in. So I'm in Atlanta today, so I'm on Eastern Standard Time. So I was up at 5 a.m. Eastern Standard Time today.
All right. Well, I'm glad you're there. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I love the things that are going on. If you're not following Clara on social media platforms, you need to. She's got a lot of great stuff going on. You need to go follow her, and you need to go, get yourself some habits in the morning to make you more productive. This is Michael Rager, your business guide here on Biz Talk TV on NowMedia Television. We'll be back with more right after this.
I've helped small and medium-sized businesses and business owners to make sure that their legal rights and interests are protected. As general counsel for you and your organization, I can draft and review solid contracts, minimize the risk of litigation, review and prepare comprehensive business succession plans, or help you navigate your company with the local, state, and federal government. Take a decisive step today. I'm here to make sure your legal rights are protected and you have a peace of mind that you deserve.
Hey, welcome back to Biz Talk TV. I'm your business host and guide, Michael Rager, and it's that time. The debate was last night, so of course we've got to have some purple politics. Alina, how are you today?
I am phenomenal. I am electrified. I'm excited to talk to you about all things debates.
All right, so I didn't watch the debate. I ended up picking up some segments this morning on some of the news media, new channel on the way in. What was your biggest takeaway from the debate from last night?
I'm sorry, I'm cracking up because I was listening to Glenn Beck this morning, and he actually had a really interesting way of describing the eight. That it was like the Star Trek crew when they get beamed down. So definitely center of stage, Ron DeSantis and Vivek Ramaswamy. And I know I just probably mispronounced that. They were the captain and the co-captain, and they were center stage. Interestingly enough, I thought the big winners, or the ones that provided the most entertainment, positioning, and brought their voice, was Nikki Haley. I thought she did incredible in some points. She had some flubs, but I thought overall she did a great job in getting her position out there. Chris Christie always to me is fun, and he was real. He wasn't just, the taglines or the little speaking points. He was interesting because he actually went on the attack on some things, but he also brought some rationality in his points. And I found Mike Pence did very well in that he reminds me of what is the captain from I Dream of Jeannie, the master, like the way he poised himself. He's totally 1960s. But I found it interesting for him is that there was some insight as to what was the breakdown in his relationship with Trump, what happened on January 6th, at least on the Senate floor for ratifying the election. I thought that was a good piece, and he was definitely much stronger than he was at the town hall with Tucker Carlson.
Well, the stations I listened to, the ones they said that captivated was Cost Vivek, but they really thought that DeSantis didn't show any spark. They thought that DeSantis did exactly what they expected, nothing more, nothing less, and he didn't really catapult himself. How do you agree with that?
Here's the thing is, I'm in Florida. So I love when Governor DeSantis is kind of put on task and he goes into lawyer pitbull mode, where he does debate with, like, whether it's media or something. He was so plastic, if you will. I mean, I don't know who's coaching him. He had this fake smile that was not comfortable. He looked uncomfortable. He looked too staged. He was so stiff, and that is not the DeSantis that I am familiar with being here in Florida. Right. Although he was very strong in his points, and he is very strong. He is a he is one of those that he produces his results. He may not be as dramatic as Vivek was. Vivek is very emotive and very over the top, and I personally thought Vivek was too much of a used car salesman. He was saying all the same stuff he always does on social media, on TikTok and everything, but there was no substance to what he was saying. Ron just kind of sat back. In some instances, I felt like his military background may have played a role to it, that it was speak when spoken to, not jump into the fray. There was a little spark of Ronnie coming out there when they were asking everybody, like school kids, who would, raise your hand if you agree with the statement. He was like, no, this is a debate. We shouldn't be raising our hands.
Right.
So I wish he had come out a little bit more. As himself. I thought he was way too reserved. So he didn't, he was, it wasn't a strong performance, but he did well. He wasn't attacked. Everybody anticipated that he would be the one everybody was jumping on, and they weren't. Pence and Christie were all over Vivek, and Nikki Haley threw some barbs back at Vivek, which was interesting. But again, no, Vivek is a Trump super fan, so it's almost like
that's the one thing that I took from it is Vivek is kind of trying to be the next magma person. I'm going to take over for Don if Don doesn't get anywhere where he needs to get. And the other thing that kind of upset me was the way that the crowd went when Christie talked about we got to stop this. The way we're acting and normalizing the behavior, and they booed him over that. I just don't get it. That's one of the parts of what's going on right now in our country that I don't get is we're approving, I don't know, adolescent behavior.
Absolutely. I mean, if you watch, okay, it is ironic that the very same people probably in that audience that were booing Chris Christie, saying that we should not be rewarding Donald Trump for saying these negative things or for behaving in this manner, in fact being a bully, but yet they will be the same ones that are criticizing those viral videos of people acting out in public or beating up on each other and things of that nature. I was impressed that the crowd was more subdued. I was anticipating a lot more voraciousness towards like DeSantis, Pence, and things. So for that just one brief moment of booing, yes, we should not be rewarding bad behavior. As parents, we do not reward our children's bad behavior, or we should. Most of us don't. And sometimes I think that has to be pointed out more and more. However, they were able to get him under control, and it actually helped his point come across, in my opinion.
I think so. I think so, too. So what do you think about Nikki Haley's statement about that 75% of Americans do not want a Pence-Trump, rematch? Nobody cares. Nobody wants to see it again. It hasn't been good for us as a country, no matter what happened.
Well, people do care because that's obviously why Trump still makes waves. I mean, even when Trump, let's face it, these past few years, I mean, the media loved Trump being in the limelight. Everybody does. We wouldn't be talking about him. I mean, if anything, Trump is incredible with his branding, with his messaging, and keeping relevant. It could have been so simple for him to have fizzled out, his shining light to fizzle out these last couple years after losing the 2020 election. But because he maintained his relevancy and also being buoyed by these indictments, everybody still wants to talk about him. I mean, but is it a circus? Yes. Is it true that the vast majority of Americans do not want to see a Biden-Trump rematch? Absolutely. Do I personally feel that the Republicans are focusing too much on the primary and not the bigger picture, which is the general election? If the goal of the Republican Party is to win back the White House, to gain more control, Nikki Haley was so correct. We need to be focusing on the big picture. What is the end game? And if that end game is that Trump does not deliver the general election, then what? And I think it's true on the other side. The Democrats, I feel, have a serious issue in that right now, de facto, their candidate is Biden, who's not really campaigning. He's not likable. He's, yes, he's like an old grandpa and all that, but as a statesman, as an authoritative figure, he has super low approval rating. And the question bears, is it time for this generation that Trump and Biden both are in, time for them to step back and allow younger people to go in, to be able to steer this country?
Well, I think that's a point that we really need to look at, and I think that's going to be the most important thing. All right, so we've got 2 minutes here, and I want to go off topic here to talk about you got your new show coming, and you're going to talk about this for like a whole an hour. So
yes.
Tell us a little bit about that and when you're starting up, and how are people going to get a hold of you and watch you and all that fun stuff.
Okay, first of all, I am over the moon excited about this. I have had this vision of a show that truly bridges two polarizing opinions and trying to find what is in the best interest and the common ground to move forward. So I always felt like we needed that type of show where it's a catalyst to opening the conversation. And finally, here we are 4 years later. I am starting actually my inaugural television spot will be recorded today for Purple Politics. I will be discussing today, like, obviously my vision, what was my inspiration. I really have to thank my mother for my passion in politics, but we're going to dive into the debates and what's happening, and then in the future bringing in guests as well that are not only running, but those that are effectively in the system, that are there trying to say, where can we continue to move forward in a positive momentum, or how can we make corrections and change course for our general population, whether it's locally or on a federal level. So I am super excited. And of course, I want you to come on because I love talking to you, because you bring that balance for me on the in your viewpoints, because I definitely will say I'm more right of center for most part, but I love that you challenge me as well. So I definitely want you to.
I enjoy this segment every week. It's such a great time. We keep saying we got to get together off camera and actually talk. We got to make that happen here in the next couple weeks for sure. So I'm looking so forward to it. I can't wait. I wish you all the luck in the world. It's going to be awesome. I guarantee it. So congratulations. We can't wait to see this big sign, that sign, up there all over social media. I can't wait. So Alina, thanks a lot. We're going to talk to you next week, okay?
Thank you, Michael.
All right. This is Michael Rager, your business guide here on Biz Talk TV on NowMedia Television. We're going to be back with more right after this.
The best bilingual news, business talk, and technology content 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You are watching NowMedia Television, the first bilingual media network in the United States.
Are you a business owner feeling overwhelmed or burnt out with no energy left for what's most important to you? In order to effectively run your business and maximize your profits, you have got to be the best possible you that you can be. Now is the time to reclaim your energy, master your schedule, and maximize your profits so you can effectively run your business rather than it running you. It's time to become the CEO of your business and life. I'm Jen Godet, a business strategist and life coach. I work with overwhelmed business owners who feel stuck in a rut and depleted. I teach you how to stop doing the things that aren't making you money and start prioritizing the things that bring you energy, joy, and lasting impact. I'm a human performance specialist and an international best-selling author. I've helped countless people all over the world to learn the art of saying no, overcome their fear, and maximize their performance. Let's get you to live your best possible reality. Start today and become the CEO of your business and your life.
Hey, welcome back to Biz Talk TV. I'm your business host and guide, Michael Rager. And it's that time again. We got her. She's back from the West Coast. Afa Roach. Afa, how are you today?
I'm great, Michael. How are you doing? Great to see you.
Great to see you. Amazing, amazing. All right, so I want to get into this. We were talking a little bit off camera. So how do we look at, you're very popular on social media. People see you a lot. How do we start looking at our social media and what we do is popularity versus profit? How do we look at the two and how do we make that happen?
Yeah, and this is where I see the vast majority of people going down the wrong track.
Okay.
Very, very quickly. Like I have had conversations, and this is true, with people who have millions of followers, but that they still are working their 9 to 5 because they haven't figured out how to monetize their social media. So the first thing when you're looking at your social media strategy, right, is to decouple yourself from identifying with followers. We are not interested, from a business perspective, right? We are not interested in followers. We are interested in buyers. We are interested in curating our content to speak to the buyer, not just to speak to the followers. Now, I don't want to take away from anyone who is on social media inspiring and has a big following, and I totally get that. But where I see the normal person who's out there, they're not clear on who they are trying to speak to. And because they're not clear on who they're trying to speak to, they're sort of trying to jump in on different trends and follow up. But I would rather you sit back and ask yourself, who is the person that I want to do business with? What is their pain point? And how can I speak to that pain point? Because you don't want to be on social media trying to be everyone's cup of tea. The riches are found in the niches. The more that you niche down, the more you're actually going to attract the type of people into you that actually want to do work with you. But where I see people get confused, they get tangled up in thinking likes and followers and all of that is what this is about. But that's not what it's about. This is about you creating financial freedom. This is about you having more revenue to spend time with your family. This is not an ego ride of you building a whole digital audience supporting you of people who you don't even know, who are not, where you're not monetizing it, because that for me is actually just a big waste of time. I would rather see people go out and spend their time networking in person than spending huge amounts of time on social media if you're only on social media for the dopamine hit that you're going to get that someone follows and likes you. Does that make sense?
No, that makes perfect sense. When I look at it, I look at my stuff, for example. I think I'm putting out content that I'm targeting towards my customers, but I don't get the following. Hey, if I go show a video of me and my kid or a funny fart meme, I get all kinds of people putting things together. But what I think is the good stuff, it doesn't go anywhere. How do we start solving that problem?
I give you, when I have one video running on it, because sometimes I am the marketing, sometimes I do the marketing. It depends. I have one video running on TikTok at the moment, which is a video of me working out. We're on 880,000. We'll probably hit 1 million. It is the most basic workout video. Yes, it shows how to do one particular exercise, and I get that people might add value. But I do videos talking to people about how to integrate AI into their business so that they can make money, and it gets a fraction. It might even get 1,000 views. And you're like, it's skewed. You know, here we are delivering the value of trying to educate people, but people are often leaned into stuff that's a little bit less serious and a little bit more social media sort of orientated. But what I say is, first of all, when you're doing your social media and building your network, one, you got to be leveraging video, right? People want to know who you are. They want to know what type of person you are, and they want to know your values and what you stand for. Then the second thing is you have to establish what you stand for. What is it that you're actually trying to sell people, and articulate that to them in a way that they can understand. And that is something that I've definitely learned recently, especially the more I talk in the AI space. We've got to sort of learn to meet people where they're at, not where we're at, because we've spent years upon years curating our content and curating our expertise to speak at the level that we speak at. But the challenge is most people are not at that level. So we've got to simplify and kind of dumb down the content a little bit, and then do a lot of content.
Yeah.
It's not like doing one video is going to be enough. Like, you know, on TikTok right now at the moment with the biggest accounts that I'm growing, I'm posting 2 or 3 times a day on TikTok. Now I only post once on LinkedIn because I don't want to overdo the algorithm. But I do think that it's the consistency. At a minimum, I would like to see people posting 5 to 7 times a day on LinkedIn. And I want to see people posting 14 to 20 times a week. 5 to 7 times a week on LinkedIn, and 15 to 20 times on TikTok.
Yeah,
if you really want to make an
I'm not on
impact,
TikTok
which is
yet.
a lot.
We're getting there. My coach we're doing a TikTok challenge starting the beginning of next month. So she's going to make me do it. As much as I'm kicking and screaming not to, I'm going to get there. So, you know, I'm going to join you.
One of the first things that I recommend that you do is, and Neil Patel is actually offering lifetime at the moment. You can, for $99 for lifetime, you can go into answerthepublic.com. And this is what we need to do, because we need to dumb down what we're asking or what we're explaining. Go into answerthepublic.com, search your domain in your domain area, and it's going to give you what people are asking. And then go and answer that question. Nothing more, no more bells and whistles. It doesn't need to be any more complicated than you picking out the question and you answering the question, because that's the level people are operating at. We can come with, and I'm guilty of it all of the time, of putting complex language in around things. But then, like I say, I'm speaking to the top 1% of the audience. I want the top 1%. I specifically target them. So if most people don't know what I'm saying, that's okay for me, because I'm not speaking to that person. I'm speaking to the 1% of people that I want, because they're the ones who are going to be with the direction I want to move in, that are going to be the action takers. And I think for you as well, you're speaking very specifically to the business owner rather than the masses.
Yeah, no, you're right. I'm just learned about Ask the Public maybe about a month ago. And we're just looking into that right now. I really love it. But I think something you said earlier was, I'd rather have people go do things in public and go actually meet people. Because here's the thing, people think social media is fast. And if you're just starting out, it's not.
There is nothing that is going to give you a better ROI than sitting down with someone face to face, exchanging energy and building rapport. People can make an assumption about you on social media on what they believe and think that you're like, but sitting down with someone and having a coffee, getting them on a Zoom, having a virtual coffee if you can't get around them in person, taking them to an event like you do, because I know you do a lot of these events. I saw you do it on LinkedIn the last day. Giving people an experience of who you are and what you're doing is so valuable, even more so than 20 social media posts. I would rather get 5 people and allow them to sit down where I could have an interaction with them, where they could get a sense of me. That is where your social media is just your credibility sort of social proof, but that's never going to replace the energy that you can exchange when you meet someone in person.
No, I totally agree with you. Sometimes social media can be the most antisocial thing in the world.
Massive.
So,
because you end up sitting on it, and because you can create a whole identity around it, and sometimes it gets very toxic, right? Because you have people, okay, I need more followers, let me buy more followers. So then they buy followers, okay? So then they're like, okay, now I have these followers, so it looks like I have something. And then it's like, okay, now I need to buy likes for the post, because if I don't have the likes on the post, then people aren't going to think that the likes are real. And then they're like, okay, now I have the likes and I bought the likes, I bought the followers. Now I need to buy the views in order for people to think that people are actually watching me. And you end up in this really toxic web of where it lacks authenticity. And then people fall into the trap to believe. They're like, I have 300,000 followers. And I'm like, but you bought them.
Yeah, exactly. You don't really have followers. Exactly. So if this is great information, how do people get a hold of you to find out more?
Yeah, so I do a lot on my LinkedIn profile, so you can check me out, Aoife Roach, on my LinkedIn. I really do aim and strive to put up everything that I'm doing and be very, very transparent. If people want to reach out and connect with me directly, go to my website at attentiongrabbersusa.com and you can book in a call. I do discovery calls with people to help them with their strategy. And if I'm not the person that can help you, I will tell you that I'm not here with any hard sales pitches for anyone. I'm here to add value and work with my ideal avatar. And if there's anything that I can't help you with, I'll definitely put you in the direction of someone who can.
Well, that's awesome. I'm going to tell you, if you're a business owner and you want to learn about AI and how to use it in your business, you got to follow Aoife on LinkedIn for sure. So Aoife, thanks a lot. We're going to see you next time.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
All right. I'm Michael Rager, your business guide here on Biz Talk TV, NowMedia Television. We'll be back with more right after this.
Hello, my name is Charles Sanders, and I'm a personal injury attorney with the Rose Sanders Law Firm, based in Texas and with offices in Houston, Dallas, McAllen, and El Paso. We assist individuals throughout the entire state who have suffered harm due to the negligence of another person. With my experience as an insurance adjuster, I understand and I know exactly how to counter the strategies employed by insurance companies, and I'm bringing this knowledge to you. We handle a wide variety of situations, ranging from car accidents to defamation and unsafe property conditions. We are here to provide support and legal representation at no cost to you. Call us today at 713-221-3773.
Hey, welcome back, and thanks for watching today. This is Michael Rager, your business guide here on Biz Talk TV. It was a great show today. It's amazing starting off the day and learning about productivity, and Claire Capano really put us in the right place. You know, Aoife Roach shared some great tips about social media and being profitable. And again, purple politics, lots of P's today. But with the debate the other day, it was always great to talk to Eliana. Seeing what's going on and seeing how, what's going on in Washington is affecting our lives as business owners. So I'm Michael Rager. Remember to go out there, be profitable, be just a great business owner. And as we talked about at the beginning, your perception, be perceived as the best business owner in your area. Go out there and make it a great day, and we'll see you next time.
This has been a Now Media Networks feature presentation. All rights reserved.
Hello, my name is Charles Sanders, and I'm a personal injury attorney with the Rose Sanders Law Firm, based in Texas and with offices in Houston, Dallas, McAllen, and El Paso. We assist individuals throughout the entire state who have suffered harm due to the negligence of another person. With my experience as an insurance adjuster, I understand and I know exactly how to counter the strategies employed by insurance companies, and I'm bringing this knowledge to you. We handle a wide variety of situations, ranging from car accidents to defamation and unsafe property conditions. We are here.
En vivo desde Houston, la ciudad espacial. Esto es NowMedia Television.